on Saturday, the 25th of October in the evening. 2 men were arrested. One was arrested at 8 p.m. at Roissy Airport as he was attempting to leave for Algeria without a return flight to France. A second suspect was arrested at 8:40 at his home. He was not planning to travel abroad, unlike what some media outlets have been reported. These are men aged 30 of Algerian nationality, living in France since 2010 in Aubervilliers. He was unemployed on the day of his arrest, but previously had worked as a delivery man. Already known by the police services for delinquency and had also been sentenced for theft in the past. The second suspect is aged 39, living in Aubervilliers, where he was born. He is working as an illegal taxi driver, but also worked as a delivery man. He has already been known to the police for aggravated theft in 2008 and 2014 and is under judicial supervision at the moment, linked to another case that will be managed in November. During the hearing, the information occurred showing that it was about an ATM machine in Aubervilliers. His DNA was located on the glass that had been broken. And this is unlike what was said in some media outlets. They were not wearing a yellow construction worker vest. So they are currently being presented in front of the investigating magistrates before their formal charge for organized gang theft. This has a sentence of 15 years in prison and a high fine. The qualification for the second suspect has been identified as up to 10 years imprisonment. We have requested pre-trial detention, and the investigating magistrates are going to be issuing declarations. All members of the perpetrators have not yet been caught, so I am only providing you with the information that we have. The investigation remains secret and confidential regarding those still being sought. The jewels have not yet been returned to our possession. I hope that they will be found and will be able to be returned to the Museum of the Louvre and to the nation.
You've been listening to the prosecutor in Paris there just lay out a bit more details in terms of the investigation into the heist at the Louvre some 10 days ago. 2 suspects, she said, have been arrested. The big headline, however, is that no additional jewelry has been found at this point.
Yeah, those 2 men that Bianca just mentioned were indeed known to police. They'd been arrested previously. They were in their 30s. They were of Algerian descent. They'd been here since about 2010. One of them, she gave a little bit more detail on the arrest of one of them because he was actually arrested at the airport, apparently headed to Algeria, about to board a flight to Algeria, and it was a one-way ticket. She also warned that anybody considering buying these stolen jewels, I mean, that would be a major mistake. Obviously, these jewels are incredibly recognizable, and you would then be implicated in this large-scale crime. Let's go to senior international correspondent Melissa Bell, who has been listening to this press conference. She joins us live now from Paris. One of the things that I thought was interesting, just reading up about this earlier this morning, is that the Paris prosecutor had previously said that she regrets, or that there had been some regret over the disclosure of the arrests of these two suspects previously, because it kind of it sort of jeopardized the investigation. Talk to us more about that, and also what stood out to you in this press conference, Melissa.
That's right. Her initial statement when those two arrests were made on Saturday night, after they were made, was quite pointed about the fact that it was regrettable that this should have been leaked to the press, and that therefore the prosecutors had to put out this statement to confirm the arrests because of the fact that others were made at large, that the jewels had yet to be recovered, that this was a case that was very much at the heart of their preoccupations and what they were taking care of now, and that the leak of the information and the confirmation of the arrests ran the risk of compromising their important manhunt for the other suspects. What we did hear her say there, and I thought it was interesting, Zain and Bianna, to hear her confirm a lot of what we knew. First of all, that these two suspects arrested on Saturday night, they've now spent 4 days on their 96 hours that authorities could hold them to question them, and will now be charged. So that does tell us that thanks to that DNA evidence that they found, we understand, just listening there to the chief prosecutor, from one of the helmets that was found after their escape, and they managed to link it, because these men were known to French police services. So clearly their DNA had been in a database. So quickly a match was found. But the fact that they're now being charged suggests that they do feel they have the right men, two men in their 30s, as you say, of Algerian nationality, but here for several years. But they were known also for very low-level delinquency and low-level crime. So I think another important thing part of what she said was when she said, although there were 4 people, thanks to CCTV footage, thanks to their investigations on the scene of the crime, that were actually there that Sunday morning, it is not to be excluded that there are other people, maybe someone who commissioned it, other people may be involved in the plotting of this, someone else may actually be holding the jewels now that may be responsible. And this is something that we've heard from people looking at this, criminologists, who've said what was remarkable about this is how carefully it was planned, and in the end how poorly executed, given the many DNA traces you were just hearing about there that were left behind at the scene, given that they tried and failed to burn this mechanical ladder that they'd been on, and that so many pieces of evidence were left behind, the helmet in which the DNA traces were found, one of their scooters, a glove. So it was quite messy towards the end of it and in their flight. And I think the profile of these two men, certainly low-level criminals from this Paris suburb, does suggest that theory appears to be proving correct. Maybe they had been hired to carry out something that had been commissioned by someone with a much better plan. So we wait to hear more on that, because that's another thing that Laure Bécoud had to point out, was that this is an ongoing investigation. There are still arrests to be made, and for now they have to be very cautious about what details they're giving away, which is why she said she would be saying not very much more than what you heard there, essentially a confirmation very much of what we already knew.
Right, Melissa Bell in Paris for us. Thank you so much.
Fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.